Hi guys, today I am going to hold a sort of troubleshooting session, and I am just basically going to address all the more sort of common curly girl problems that I have seen people asking for help with, put them all in one place to hopefully make your curly girl journey that little bit easier. So the most common question and problem I've seen people ask, and I've had people contact me personally for, is why don't my curls look as good from day 2 onwards? Now, the first question I always ask is, what's your refresh routine? And quite a lot of the time people will say, I don't have a refresh routine, and my answer is always, well, that's the issue then. Now, for those of you who don't know, a refresh is what curly girl people refer to when they restyle their hair in between wash days. It's just generally a little bit more gentle on your hair than doing a full-on wash every day, and it basically just stretches out the days between wash sessions. I actually, trying to work out, it should be tomorrow, coming live is my updated refresh routine. I actually filmed it earlier on today, so this is the result. If you guys wanted to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it, that will give you a rough idea of how to keep your curls looking fresh in between wash days. Sort of linked to the refresh, I do see people complaining that their hair gets really tangly overnight, particularly if, like me, they're a bit of a fidgety sleeper. Now, I would always advise to make sure that you're protecting your hair overnight. I personally sleep on a satin pillowcase. I sometimes put my hair in a ponytail on the top of my head, and I sometimes use what's called a buff, which is just a cylindrical piece of fabric. It looks very fetching, I can tell you. And sometimes I do both. So there is a variety of ways. I do actually have a video of the different ways of protecting your hair at night, so I'll drop a link to that at the end of the video. But yeah, so I would recommend sleeping on a satin pillowcase. They're not expensive. I think they probably used to be, which is why I never bothered getting one, but they're reasonably cheap now. Or you could just use an old satin nightie or pyjamas or whatever, and making sure that you are sufficiently protecting your hair overnight. That will make such a difference. Another common issue that I've seen curly struggling with is after a few weeks they'll think they've cracked the routine, and then all of a sudden all the curls just drop, their hair goes really limp, really fluffy, and it just doesn't hold the curl anymore. So I have a sort of two-pronged attack to that issue. The first one, which is the most simple one, is I advise people to check their products for glycerin. Now, glycerin is what's known as a humectant, which, as you've heard me say multiple times by now, humectants draw the moisture in from the air. Now, if you're in a climate like wonderful rainy Britain, it has lots of moisture in the air. The humectants, the glycerin, is going to draw the moisture in from the air, attract to the hairs, and then pull them in all different directions, and that is what causes frizz. So I would first advise to cut out the glycerin. I found that made a really big difference when I was first starting to have natural hair. The second one is a bit more of a risk. I would consider adding protein to your routine. Now, I know some people say that protein isn't the remedy for over moisturized hair, but I find they counterbalance each other really well. So I would start gradually, look at potentially a conditioner with protein in. Now, the Child's Farm Strawberry and Organic Mint Conditioner and the Aldi Volume Conditioner are my two personal favourites. They're both budget friendly and they contain several different forms of protein. So I would look at incorporating that first, then maybe incorporating a gel or a styler that has protein in. So I like to use the Eco Styler Argan Oil Gel. This has hydrolyzed wheat protein in it, and if you've done all that, you've started incorporating it into your products, you could then look at a protein treatment. I've got a couple of videos where I demo my personal favourite protein treatment, so I'll just quickly say it really simply, so get a pen and paper. I use 2 sachets of gelatin, just the Dr. Oetker gelatin from Tesco's. I add a splash of apple cider vinegar because that helps seal everything in, apparently. And then I add a decent dollop of a deep conditioning mask. I personally like the Pantene Body and Strength Biotin and Rosewater mask. I apply that to dry hair, leave it for an hour, then rinse and style as usual. If your hair is feeling a little bit dry, a little bit thirsty, a bit frizzy, there are 2 types of frizz as well, I'm just going to quickly say. One of them I know is angry frizz, and then there is another type of frizz, but I'm not quite sure what that's called. So if your hair is a bit dry and just generally angry feeling, I would recommend incorporating a more moisturising product. So it might be time to either stop shampooing for a while and switch to maybe co-washing or clarifying, using apple cider vinegar for example, or incorporate a deep condition. Now I actually went 3 years without deep conditioning my hair. I don't know how, to be honest. I think it was because I was co-washing, I didn't really need it. But once I started using the occasional shampoo, I did find that my hair could do with every sort of couple of weeks. I just whack a little bit of deep conditioner on there, leave it for a couple of minutes and then rinse it and style as normal. And I find that helps sort of bring my curls back. And like I've said, my personal favourite deep treatment is the Pantene one. It's really rich. I've got a video reviewing that. It's really rich, but it's also really lightweight. And I have also used the Garnier Hair Food as well. So they're both sort of they're pretty similar in sort of results, if you guys wanted to go check those out. What I've also noticed some people struggling with is their hair goes a bit dry and stringy and matted. Now, there are 2 possible reasons for this. The first is that you might have used products with coconut in, and some hair reacts badly to coconut, so that would be the first sort of step I would take if your hair's gone a bit sort of dry and matted and stringy. The second is you could potentially have been using too much protein. Now I have seen several times people get excited when they see these protein treatments and they use it when their hair doesn't need to. Now the signs of protein overload is your hair goes matted, dry, brittle, and it can actually break off. So if you think you have coconut sensitivity, obviously the logical step is cut out the coconut. If your hair goes into protein overload, it is actually a lot harder to come back from. So the first thing, again obviously, is cut out the protein. Then the second would be just focus on lots and lots of moisturising, rich, nourishing, deep conditioning treatments. So that feels very rambly, but I think I've covered everything I need to say. That was just my basic troubleshooting guide to curly hair problems. If you've got any more that you need sort of help with, drop them down in the comments, reach out to me on Instagram, or my email's on my Instagram. Either way, get in touch. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. As always, don't forget to hit like, subscribe and share, and I will see you soon. Bye bye! Girl, I keep saying sort of. I'm also paranoid I've got bolognese in my teeth. Make your curl days. He's trying to shush him. I'll just start this whole bit again, I've lost my train of thought. I use 2 sachets of glycerin, just the Dr. Oetker glycerin.